to talk about this first. This took place a while ago, all right? And it took place in Oklahoma. There was a class that was canceled due to a bill that bans teaching on quote-unquote critical race theory, all right? Now, let me ask you guys a question. Out of all of these quote-unquote classes that are banned for quote-unquote teaching quote-unquote critical race theory, how many of them have actually come out and be shown to actually be teaching quote-unquote critical race theory? Have any of them actually been classes that teach critical race theory, or have they been something else? That's my question. We're going to see. Now, remember, this is in Oklahoma. Here's my question. What does Sarah Huckabee do now? What is her current position? What does she do? What is her job besides, I don't know, resting Twitch face? What is her job besides doing that? Does anybody know? She has a job, believe it or not. It's kind of an important job. So what'd she do? Who knows what her job is? Who knows what she does? She work at the black building across the street from the white building. Ah, yeah, she's the governor. Shout out to PD Chicago B1. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat for PD Chicago B1. Where's she the governor at? Shout out to Carlton Wade. What's good with it, bro? Shout out to Ricky Jones. Yeah, good job, Terrence. Facts. Governor of Arkansas. All right, governor of Arkansas. But we talking about Oklahoma. Kevin Stitt is the governor of Oklahoma, and he's on the same program as Abbott, DeSantis, Huckabee, and all these other people that follow the syllabi from the Manhattan Institute. So now, shout out to TD Hip Hop Media. TD Hip Hop Media is in here. It's funny because I was actually thinking about talking crap about TD, but I wanted to make sure that he was around so that he could hear me. And I didn't know if he would be around so that he could hear me. But now that I know that he is, I was actually watching one of his videos the other day, and I was scrolling through the comment section, and somebody was outraged. Shout out to Shamika Gray. What's good with it? Somebody was outraged in this comment section. They were outraged because they say that TD Hip Hop Media doesn't go in on Republicans enough. We're going to put TD on the spot today. Do y'all feel that TD goes in on Republicans enough? If you guys feel that TD goes in on Republicans enough, give me a thumbs up. If you don't feel that he goes in on Republicans, then give me a thumbs down. Let me know what you guys think. Don't be scared neither. Don't be scared neither. You know what I'm saying? He ain't going to use that wrench. He don't even put his link in the channel, so he definitely ain't about to use the wrench. Now, why do I ask that question? The reason why I asked that question is because of the idiotic nature of that comment. Every single time TD Hip Hop Media does a video, TD Hip Hop Media says neither party is a party that is optimal for black people. However, the purpose of his channel is to expose the Democrats, because people playing like your friends and stabbing you in your back is a little bit more dangerous than people who are outwardly egregious towards you, right? So if the purpose of his channel is to expose the snakes in the grass, then why would he waste time talking about the people who are easily identifiable? That's my question. Shout out to Terrence, still unsubscribing. Facts. Does that make any sense? So clearly, all of these people that are leaving these comments in his comment section either have a issue with comprehension, or they're people who've only watched one video and are defining the channel based on one video. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Now, for one, any exposure, right? Any exposure of Republicans on TD Hip Hop Media's channel should be above and beyond the expectations that anybody would have, because the purpose of his channel, as he's rebranded his channel and says it in every live stream, is to expose Democrat treachery. Because the assumption is that we already know that Republicans have issues with black people. So if he just happens to cover one Republican out of 365 videos, that is above and beyond the requirements based on the mission of his channel and the channel description. Would you guys agree or would you disagree? Now, we about to roast everybody. Okay? It don't matter if they undercover or right in your face. They're getting roasted. The Republicans have been on a jihad to try to erase Black American history. For one, we're not going to let that happen. But for two, we're not politicians, are we? Let me ask you guys a question. I know we got Jesse Paris. Shout out to my man Jesse Paris, who's running for Denver mayor. And we got Marcel Dixon out here, right? But aside from those two, are any of us politicians? If you're a politician, give me a thumbs up. If you're not a politician, give me a thumbs down. So what our job is to do is to vote or not vote, right? Make political statements with our citizenship and our civic duties that Vivek Ramaswamy is so focused on, and put in representatives who will do the job of doing politics, right? So it's not our job to fight Sarah Huckabee, is it? It's our job, if we make it our job, to talk about it, right? And I've made it my job to try to be as thorough of a YouTube journalist as I can. So I'm talking about it. But it's not my job to politically deal with her. I don't even live in the same state. However, as you guys can see, a lot of these things are multi-state directives, coordinated efforts, right? Now, here's my question. Who are the people that are supposed to be dealing with this? Because there are people that are supposed to be dealing with this, right? Right? I want you guys to give me some names of some people who should be dealing with this. These are elected officials of people who don't have our best interest in mind, right? Which means that the elected officials that claim to have our best interest in mind are the individuals that should be dealing with this, right? Facts. If you guys agree with Sean, give me a thumbs up. He's one of them. He should definitely be doing it. Who else? Shout out to Sean. She's one of them. And you would assume that, you know, anybody that's a self-respecting black person, you kind of have a, I don't know, blood dedication to preserve your history. You'd think, maybe, kind of. Shout out to Black Velvet Rhapsody. She's another one. Sheila Jackson Lee. Shout out to Terrence Hakeem Jeffries. He's another one. You know what I'm saying? Corey Diesel. Corey Diesel is another one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So here's my question. What are these people doing to combat any of this stuff? We've got this kind of stuff going on in Florida. We got this kind of stuff going on in Oklahoma. What are they doing to combat it? What are they doing to combat it? Kamala Harris is another one, right? So now here's my question. What is the problem with our history? And I agree, they're not doing anything. None of those people that we all listed are doing anything. But you know what's crazy though? They say we need to vote for them to quote unquote protect us from this kind of stuff. Let me ask you guys a question. What kind of a job of protection are they doing? I mean, Black history is dropping like flies at schools nationwide. So what are they doing? What are they? They're doing nothing. I agree. So here's my question, right? When it comes to Republicans, they're getting this stuff done. You guys see this? They've already passed this bill here in Oklahoma. Oklahoma teacher says summer class canceled due to bill that bans teaching critical race theory. And we know that they don't teach critical race theory in a high school or elementary school level. We know that critical race theory is only taught at a college level, and it's an elective. It's not a required class. Regardless, though, these people are getting their objectives done. Now, I thought the big bad Democrats that if we don't vote for them, we're going to get put back in chains. I thought the Democrats were supposed to be protecting people from this kind of stuff. Doesn't look like that protection is doing too good. Let me ask you guys. Never mind. I'm not going to ask that question. Let's get into this. Let's check out this video.
I'm not happy. This is information that everybody needs to know.
High school and community college teacher Melissa Smith says House Bill 1775 has caused her to lose the class she was supposed to teach.
So that's interesting. They had this white lady teaching this Black history class, but that's neither here nor there. They always, it's interesting how that goes. I took classes in the Pan-African department at Kent State University, and we had a white teacher. Her name was Miss Webster. She was all right, you know what I'm saying? But it'd just be funny though, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was all right. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, like, I don't know her on a personal level. You know what I'm saying? She was a good teacher though. She had us read some good books that were relevant, you know what I'm saying? But you know, it's always interesting. But regardless, right? My question for you guys is, did you hear that bill number? Now, here goes my question with the bill number, right? We keep hearing about the Stop Woke Act in Florida, but my question is, can you guys name any of the bills that are similar to the Stop Woke Act where this is going on throughout the United States? Because make no mistake, it is going on all throughout the United States. So we got this bill here in Oklahoma. There's another one that we're going to be talking about, and we already know about the Stop Woke Act. So now my question is, what are Democrats doing about it? I don't see any Democrats doing anything about this to try to figure it out. $17.75, interesting number. Yeah. Do you think that was an accident, Carlton? Let's run that back.
Smith says House Bill 1775 has caused her to lose the class she was supposed to teach this summer at OCCC.
I've actually been teaching race and ethnicity in the United States for multiple years.
House Bill 1775 restricts what can be taught about racial divisions through history in Oklahoma classrooms.
So now, okay, let's use their logic, right? Let's use their logic. Okay, so shout out to Tia, shout out to Isaac B1. Okay, so by their logic, right? Anytime one Black person does anything, that Black person represents the entire global Black population. That's how they try to frame things, right? So like if Candace Owens says one thing, then every black person should think like Candace Owens. If Larry Elder says something, then literally everybody should think like Candace Owens. If one black criminal commits a crime, then by golly, 100% of black people are criminals, right? Okay, so let's use that logic with this situation right here. Here's a white lady who teaches race and ethnicity, and clearly she's not offended by the things that she teaches in her class. Or if she is offended, she's able to contain it until she gets out of the classroom. So by the way that we're treated, right? If one of us does something, then it's actionable for all of us, right? So that means that everybody should be held to her standard. If she can tolerate teaching race and ethnicity, what's your problem? Is that fair? Is that a fair assumption? If that's fair, give me a thumbs up. If that's unfair, then give me a thumbs down. So this woman right here, she can tolerate teaching race. She can tolerate teaching ethnicity. Clearly, she likes doing it. I don't know if it's because of the pay, or maybe she actually does like the material. I don't know. I don't know her. I'm just assuming. I'm making scenarios here, right? But clearly, she's able to teach the class. She's been teaching it. Not only does she teach it at the high school, she teaches it at the college, right? Okay, so if we use their logic about how one of us dictates the actions for all of us, then that means that she should dictate the actions for all of them, since we chose to talk about her. But for some reason, it doesn't work that way. But I think maybe we need to start pushing for it to work that way. Because a lot of times, like, there's this thing about, like, we kind of want to play fair, take the high road. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that the high road is the right road. I believe that the quickest and most effective route from point A to point B is the right road. Sometimes going the lowest is the quickest road, and it is what it is. Sometimes reciprocity is the right road. I don't believe that there should be any ethical constraint on how situations are dealt with, especially when people want to keep taking jabs at us. If you want to keep taking jabs at us, okay, cool. We'll knock you out with a body punch. Like Melvin Gillard did. Y'all remember when Melvin Gillard from the UFC knocked that dude out with a body punch? That's wild, knocking somebody out with a body punch.
I got an email a week or so ago saying that due to this new law, they were canceling my completely full race and ethnicity class.
Now her students won't be able to take her class, even though it was required for some to graduate, and she won't be paid for it either.
Now, so that's a huge chunk of my income.
We can and should teach this history without labeling a young child as an oppressor or requiring he or she feel guilt or shame based on their race or sex.
What do you all think about that? Now, here goes my question. It's interesting how these people don't take that into consideration when talking about crime rates, when talking about Chicago, when talking about single parent households. Yeah, this is Shame, Blame, and Explain. SBE to the fullest. Facts. I don't recall ever being taught Black history and anyone from the classroom being pointed out and labeled a quote-unquote oppressor. And like I said, I took honors level courses at Kent State University's Pan-African Studies building. And that never happened. There was non-Black people who were in the honors college along with me, and they took classes at Oscar Ritchie Hall, for their AP or for their honors credits as well. Nobody got called an oppressor. You know what I'm saying? Nobody got called a colonizer except for the people in the textbooks that we were talking about. So now my question is, what are these people crying about? Where are the tears coming from? Who's calling people oppressors? Who's calling people who's calling people colonizers in the classroom? Who's doing that? Who's doing this? And I mean, at the end of the day, right? So what, we just not going to talk about how Lake Lanier was formed? We just not going to talk about the Tulsa race massacre? We're not going to talk about that? What it is that there's a large percentage of Americans that just don't want to talk about their population. They don't want to talk about their history. But you got to remember that despite the fact that the Republicans are doing this and they're upfront with it, the Democrats are working hand in hand with them, and they're working under the guise of acting as if they're erasing stuff for comfort.
Chunk of my income.
We can and should teach this history.
Oh yeah, so she don't care about it. She just in it for the money. She want to work them overtime hours. See, listen.
Huge chunk of my income.
so there you go. You know what I'm saying? She like, hey, you know, I'm trying to do whatever for the money. So I mean, she doing whatever for the money. yeah, I've seen that. Have you peeped the so-called influx of American anthems? Yeah, some of them are even collaborated with by Canadians, but that's neither here nor there. They got a new one with someone named Anthony Oliver called Richmond North of Richmond. Is that the one with the guy that looks like a non-melanated Ewok? I think I've seen him before.
We can and should teach this history without labeling a young child as an oppressor. Or
where have the children been labeled oppressors at? Who's labeling the children oppressors? I'll tell you what those little kids are doing. What those little kids are doing is taking the language that they hear their disgusting parents saying and bringing it to the schools and terrorizing little black kids at the school, calling them N-words and every other thing that they hear their parents saying. Because I went to a school like that. And I would love to go to one of those schools where those Karens are crying at the school board meetings, because I'll name drop people and give people addresses of people who are between 2 and 5 years older than me who called me those names at between 5 and 8 years old. And we can see what they're doing now with their lives. And I'll get some of my classmates to come too. Since everything got to be about firsthand information. Yeah, facts. Shout out to Terrence. Make sure you guys smash that like button. So are we doing the goal of 200 likes or not? Shout out to everybody. We got 47 likes so far. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Also, make sure you guys hit that bell. If you guys haven't hit the bell and subscribe to the channel, make sure you guys take a moment and hit that bell. Also, make sure you guys check out that link that's pinned in the chat. Shout out to Torian. Make sure y'all drop some radiation emoji in the chat for Torian. That's that GoFundMe link for those heroes in Alabama. They already are over their GoFundMe goal, but I thought they shot too low. You know what I'm saying? So I just upped the goal to $4 million because, you know what I'm saying, they're better than Daniel Perry. And if Daniel Perry got $1 million, then they should get $4 million. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying?
or requiring he or she feel guilt or shame based on their race or sex. I refuse to tolerate otherwise.
Melissa says she doesn't.
No one cares what you refuse to tolerate, and we refuse to have our history be continuously defiled by the United States government and its terroristic political policies. Nobody's taking that crap anymore. Don't make us now. The first beatdown Listen now. Listen here. The first molly-whopping came with some fold-out chairs. Don't make us start taking traffic lights down, because that's gonna really hurt. I think it was wasn't there a black person that invented some type of explosive with some peanuts or something like that? Who was it? You remember Dave Chappelle said, and a black man created computers with a peanut. Nah, but who was that? Wasn't it George Washington Carver? He made some dynamite with some peanuts or something like that. Who was that did that? Don't make us start getting them. Don't make us start getting the real inventions. Get some of that water from Lake Lanier too. Get some of that water from Lake Lanier and put it in some super soakers, man. Yeah. Garrett A. Morgan. That's who created that traffic light. Who made the dynamite with the peanuts? We had to be like, dynamite. Don't do it. Don't try to buck up.
Teach kids one race is superior over another, but they do talk about racism.
They still teach that one race is superior than other races. And that's one of the reasons why they maintain the economic caste system in order to artificially create all of the disparities that they continue to talk about. So now let me ask you guys a question. Next step for these guys here, they're going to be putting PragerU kids into their education curriculum, I bet. Wouldn't you guys assume that that's the next step?
Do talk about racism and privilege.
To learn that there are actual disparities between the races in terms of education and housing and income.
She also points out her class is offered at a college where students choose to take it. It's not forced upon anyone.
It's just interesting that
those kind of classes are never forced on anyone. These kind of classes are never forced on anyone, yet they're very politically invested in attempting to get rid of this kind of history. And my question is why? But the bigger and better question is, what are the Democrats doing about it? What are the counter moves that the Democrats are doing about it? Now, we know that when one of us goes up to a Democrat and asks them what they plan on doing about reparations, man, you know what I'm saying? They get really angry and they start going ham and being extremely disrespectful, right? Now, here's my question. When it comes to these people that are doing this with our history, are you coming at them with the same vitriol, or are you yes ma'am and yes sir? And which one is happening? What are they doing? That's the question.
these adults who are paying for their own education can't choose their own classes that they want to attend.
OCCC says they are now looking into the law to see if the class could still be offered in the future. Aaron Bew, KOCO 5 News.
All right, so there's that. All right, so that's what's going on in Oklahoma. Now, that's an old article from May 27th of 2021. So that's old.